In Eamonn Investigates, Ray Santilli and Gary Shoefield have come clean for the very first time about the fact that they filmed an alien autopsy in a North London flat in 1995 and unleashed the infamous footage on an unsuspecting world. But despite admitting this, they maintain this film is based on a real alien autopsy shot in 1947 by an army cameraman at Roswell. And they still claim that a small part of it is actually real footage. I should have let it lie, but I couldn't. How much of the 1947 film was in that 1995 hoax or reconstruction?
No, restoration.
Or restoration.
I'd say probably less than 5%.
Can you identify those 5%?
I think as you go through it, if you watch it carefully, you can see when it starts to fade out and light out, you'll see flashes come in. I think it's, yeah.
Mm. So at what point do we start seeing the recreated or the restored footage as opposed to what was original?
I don't think any of us knows anymore.
Oh, come on.
No, because I think, Ray, you fill in, but there were different bits that were salvaged of the original film that come in at different points.
We worked with a series of stills, and the stills are within that footage, but, you know, obviously the main part is what has been created by us and by John.
How many reels of the original film had you got?
I took 22 reels off the original cameraman, and that's what we brought back to London.
And where is that film now?
The film now, for the most part, is in Germany. I've got a few frames here, which I can show you right now. Which I think
you've got them now?
Yeah.
Why do you keep the bulk of it in Germany?
Because it's with the person that helped finance.
And what are we looking at? What sort of stock is this?
This is 1947 Kodak safety print, and here you can see some of the damaged frames from the original film.
Can I touch this?
Yeah.
And why hasn't that degraded even further?
I think that it's been cared for since we first acquired the footage. But I don't think you'll be able to get much image out of there. I mean, there's certainly some, but you can see that there was enough for us to be able to create and rebuild from. There's an individual there at the crash site.
I put it to you, once you'd seen that film, those images would be indelibly printed on your mind. You would know, however good John's work was, you would know what the original piece was.
You know, you're assuming that it's a solid image. It wasn't. The imagery was so washed out. It was a struggle with each frame to see exactly what was there. It was enough for us to be able to sort of backward engineer it and get John to create what he did.
John, we're seeing organs being removed here. Do you recognise these as chicken giblets, or...?
Well, to be honest with you, I can't really remember. I mean, this bit may be the original
that crystal
film.
being pulled out, I'd say, is from the original footage.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, that's not. And then we're back to ours. There's a lot of white flashes, like there.
Like that,
flash, yeah.
And you see glimpses of images
like
within
that.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
And
very likely
yeah,
to be.
Absolutely. And there are certain sections where you can immediately see a slight change in texture and so forth, and that's where you will see the blend. I suppose, in hindsight, being as exact as it is, we can look at all of this now and maybe say that maybe we were a touch irresponsible to do what we did, and maybe we should have just taken the original film and just put it out there. But it wasn't. You know, we weren't in, and I wasn't involved in the world of ufology. You know, my concerns were strictly commercial at the time because I thought it was a great opportunity, and I was looking at footage which really was a difficult sell. And I thought, well, if we're going to make any money out of it, then we need to find a different answer, which is why we restored it. So just how believable is Ray and Gary's story that their film is a blend of reconstruction and reality? Was there ever a US Army cameraman with a top-secret film? And if so, did Ray really get his hands on the footage? Gareth Watson, the man behind the glass in the reconstruction, certainly thinks so. Do you believe that that original film that the boys talk about was real?
I believe there was an original film. I knew that there was this footage, that had landed on Ray Santilli's desk, or he'd discovered it somewhere in the States when he was trying to unearth some Elvis home movie footage. I've seen the reels or the cans in his office.
But it could have been a hoax in itself.
It could have been, absolutely,
You could have been part of a hoax of a hoax.
I could have been, yeah, a double whammy.
You're one of the very, very few people that has claimed to see Ray and Gary's original film. If you saw it and if you find it as mind-blowing as you did, do you actually believe then there is something else out there? There are aliens out there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's stuff out there that we don't understand.
In my opinion, there never was, never has been, any original film whatsoever. The only way to prove that would be to name the cameraman. But that will never happen because the man did not exist. He does not exist, and neither did any original film. It's flim-flam.
Since 1995, ufologists and TV documentary makers have spent time, effort and money scrutinising Ray and Gary's autopsy film. They've been concentrating on its detail, whether the telephones are from the right period or if the autopsy is carried out in a scientific manner. All of this detail we now know to have been, at best, reconstructed. We passed that information on to some of our interviewees.
Really? OK. So I was right, wasn't I?
I think Ray and Gary have cheated a number of people, including myself. Do feel let down, because if their now altered version of the truth is the correct version, then there is no reason why they couldn't have said that to begin with.
They've made a shed load of money from this around the world, from organisations who have bought it on the basis that it's authentic. It may be the case that those organisations now want their money back. So we could see Ray and Gary, you know, I don't know, dressed as Metal Mickey out in the street busking soon.
They've fooled not just the UFO researchers, but they fooled the public, they fooled the media, they fooled the world.
I'm quite sure there were people who really thought that they were seeing genuine piece of film that had come to light after all these years. Oh, well done, Ray.
I used the example, you know, the Italian job or Ocean's 11, you know, but it was like that because everyone had a valuable contribution. It was a military exercise, and right the way through, from start to finish, it went through. It was flawless.
And there's been quite a few comedy sketches on
There's been all
TV,
kinds of things. I mean, like
Simpsons.
And for me, my favourite moment is Seinfeld. Seeing Kramer and Newman talking about the footage on an episode of Seinfeld was the finest moment for me out of the entire thing.
My favourite is the Frank Skinner show, where the surgeons start dancing and the alien gets up and joins them.
I know,
mean,
that
that is just fantastic.
Well, Ray, it's been some experience, and it's a story that's not over yet. Any regrets? Anything you'd do differently?
The regret is that the original film didn't survive.
I'm certainly proud that we were able to bring something of that magnitude to the world in a form that they could understand, and it's something that tells me that there is life from other planets.
You say now you're telling the truth about the hoax. In 10 years' time from now,
the restoration.
Well, you might be telling the truth about the hoax about the restoration. This could go on forever.
Yeah, great. Long may it continue.
Well, it's a great story, isn't it? And hopefully I provided you with some of the answers to questions people have been asking for a long, long time. We've told you who made the film, who starred in it, how they did it, where they did it. But there are a few questions which still remain unanswered. Was there really an original film? And if so, why reconstruct or restore it? Who was the cameraman who shot it? Is the truth simply that a bunch of mates got together to make a few quid by hoaxing the world? Or did they really get a privileged glimpse of an extraterrestrial?